On this episode of Alt Shift, I've headed up to Go Green Automotive in Greeley, Colorado to check out this, a Subaru Powered rear-wheel drive kit car. This is Keith, owner of Go Green Automotive and 6-Star Cars, championship-winning autocross and rallycrosser, and full-time Subaru enthusiast. He's going to tell us about these little Frankensteins and why they were even envisioned in the first place.
These cars are Factory 5 818s. They're made by a company out of Boston, Massachusetts. The owner, Dave, took a ride in a Subaru and was just in awe at the power that it made and how easy it was to modify. It was Dave's idea to create a mid-engine rear-drive Subaru powered kit car.
The name 818 comes from the owner of Factory 5 wanting these cars to weigh 818 kilograms, or just over 1,800 pounds. Factory 5 offers an 818S for street and an 818R for racing, and Keith is currently building both versions. When the kit arrives at your door, you're pretty much starting from scratch.
They come just as a bare chassis with the body panels loosely attached to the outside. In addition to the kit, you need a 2002 to 2007 Subaru Impreza. You take all of the donor parts off of that car, the wiring harness, engine, transmission, suspension, brake system, and transfer it over to the 818, modify some stuff, wire it all in, fill it up with fuel, and hopefully you should be driving.
Like with any kit car build, the 818s can pose some challenges.
I would say the most difficult part about building an 818 kit car is you're building an entire car from parts and boxes, and it has to be safe, it has to be reliable, it has to be durable. The Subaru platform itself is bomb-proof, but it's adapting all that from a front-engine all-wheel drive configuration to a mid-engine rear-wheel drive configuration. You have to grind here, you have to notch there, you have to drill this, you have to modify that. All of that's fine. I mean, none of that's really a problem, especially with the team that I have. I mean, they are fabricators at heart.
Keith also has plans to make another 818S with a naturally aspirated 2.5 liter out of an Impreza RS. If you're concerned that the engine won't have enough power, don't be.
The car only weighs 1,800 pounds if it's built to spec. You gotta figure the 2.5 RS is 3,300 pounds. Knocking 1,400 pounds off of a car is just going to make it a rocket ship. So even with only 125 horsepower, they're still going to be really, really fast.
The 818s also allow you to buy aftermarket parts out of an already existing Subaru marketplace.
One of the beautiful things about the 818 is that since it is built off of the Subaru Impreza platform, specifically the GD chassis, any of the parts that can be adapted to fit that car can also be adapted to fit the 818. So if you already purchase an 06 or 07 as your donor, you have the 4 pots in the front with the 2 pots in the back. You have the aluminum control arms. You have the 2.5 liter with the TD05L turbo and the drive-by-wire. If you do what we did, which is use an 02 to 03 for the donor, you can upgrade any of that stuff later. It's all factory parts and it will perform amazing with just the donor parts, but the sky's the limit. The sky in your wallet is the limit of what you can do with these cars when they're done and when they're built.
While I was there, Keith and his team attempted to start the 818S for the very first time.
We still don't have oil pressure, which is why I keep shutting it off. Woohoo!
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's a lot of hard work paid off. Just running. I don't give a shit that it doesn't drive. It runs and idles.
Yeah, this was the very first time we've ever started this car. Tommy Kilpatrick was here finishing up the wiring for us. We got all that sorted, filled it with fuel, filled it with fluids, and I was amazed. It actually fired right up first time. I had to keep shutting it off because it didn't have oil pressure yet, and then finally once it got pressure, we started it and let it at idle.
So let's talk money. How affordable are these cars?
From Factory 5, the 818S costs $10,000, the 818R costs $11,000. Cost of the donor is going to be anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000 depending on where you get the car from and which car that you pick. Obviously the older cars are going to be a little bit cheaper. If you get a wrecked car, it's going to be a little bit cheaper. Factory 5 would like you to be able to build these cars for less than $15,000. We've found that that might be a little bit on the low side. Once you do all the maintenance, if you do time belt, water pump, head gaskets, put a clutch in it, put brake pads on it, rotors, so on and so forth, the build goes up quite a bit. Any guy building it in his garage should be able to build one of these for right around $20,000. 6-star cars, as a service to our customers and building turnkey cars, we're shooting right for $45,000 on these. It might seem like a lot, but Factory 5 also says that the very first time you build one of these cars, it should be about 300 hours labor. After you've built the first one, that should go down to about 200 hours labor. Even at a discounted shop rate, you can see where 200 hours of labor is really going to get pretty expensive pretty quick. It does seem like a lot of money. $45,000 would buy a really nice Subaru, but it's not a Subaru. When you look at these cars on paper and the numbers that they're putting down, sub 4 second 0 to 60 times, 11 to 12 second quarter mile times, over a G in the skid pad. You can't touch that. It's not quite supercar territory, but it's getting pretty close, and you're not going to get that for $45,000.
With the engine running, Keith and I grabbed a quick test drive. You know that face you make when you're a passenger in a car and you know the driver is more than qualified, but you still pee a little? That's the face I'm making here.
It'll bite, and it'll kill you.
Yeah.
It oversteers, then it understeers, then it oversteers again. You're just like, Jesus Christ.
The 818S is unbelievably fast. The lightweight chassis paired with the WRX engine make for a go-kart on steroids.
Wow. It's even better without the windshield because it's just like you're on a motorcycle.
It's just plowing you in the face the whole time.
With sponsorship from AEM, Keith and his 818R will be heading to this year's SEMA in early November. Currently the car is getting its chassis powder coated, but we'll be checking in on the build as he gears up for the event. Subscribe and stay tuned as we follow the 818R all the way to SEMA.